Welcome to the Coach and Crew Show. Get ready to take things to the next level. And now, the host of the Coach and Crew Show, the coach, Charlie Krause.
And with that, welcome to the Coach and Crew Show. We, believe it or not, are at week 4 in college football. This is the end of the month of September. How did we get here so fast? I don't know. Lots of in store for you today. Lots of picks because this just in, there's a conference that has started playing again. It's called the SEC. So real football is about to begin this weekend, and I might have showed some homerness just now just saying that, but the SEC is back. Some of the other programs are late to the party. Big Ten, we'll see you late October. Pac-12, you're going to make a cameo appearance. That's cute. You know, good for you. We'll put a little sticker on the fridge for you, but whatever. SEC, 10-game season this year. All 10 games in conference. You're going to see great matchups each and every week. I don't care what the spreads are for most of those games. You're going to see some great action along the way. There's other great games as well this weekend. Anywhere from Big 12 country. I know Big 12 came out battered and bruised over the past couple of weeks. But now that they're going to start getting into each other, I think you're going to see a higher level play because some of these teams have worked their kinks out. At least I think they've worked their kinks out. We'll find out over the course of the weekend. It's my job to help promote and help get these games ready for you for your enjoyment all throughout the day on Saturday. So you can sit back, relax, and catch the show. What we have for you in today is we'll have some game picks later and lots of them. But as always, I know you guys enjoy our tradition. And so we'll do Arkansas this week, the Razorbacks, because it's a little bit of SEC. I want to go a little bit outside of normal because we all know the big dogs in the SEC, but let's play tribute to the entire SEC. Hence some of the middle tier teams like Arkansas and South Carolina. Okay? All of it is SEC. And yes, I am SEC heavy. That's okay. ACC's done their job. More ACC teams finally start up this week. Duke comes back again. Maybe they'll finally win their first out of 3. They host UVA. Virginia Tech is finally playing a game. They host NC State along the way. American Conference is still rolling strong. The best game under the radar that we're going to talk about, and you could hear about on my podcast as well, is Army. Yes, Army is nationally ranked. They're going into Cincinnati, and we'll see if it's going to be a strength versus strength, or did Cincinnati's defense finally expose Army as just a one-dimensional type team. We're going to find out come next over the course of the weekend. So let's start, like I said, with the Arkansas traditions.
My first memory of the hog call, I came to a game when I was 6. 70,000 people who I never met before start the Woo Pig Suey chant, the hog call. It was magical.
You know, we haven't always been the Razorbacks. We were once called the Cardinals, but then after a big victory back in 1909, and the head coach said we played like a wild bunch of Razorbacks, and the next thing you know, the Razorbacks were born.
Razorback fans are the best, the very best there is.
They're dedicated fans.
We get loud here. I've been a fan since I was since I was born.
I love the Razorbacks. We're more of a family, generous with each other. There's always enough Razorback fans that we accumulate together while we're tailgating and call the Hogs.
The fable goes that farmers that were at the game were trying to encourage the Razorbacks. They were falling behind, and they started calling to the Hogs like they would on their farm, and the Razorbacks came back and got the victory. And now we have one of the most unique cheers in all of sports. It's something that unites fans and people of Arkansas together like no other thing.
Let's call those Hogs. You got...
A lot of people call us handlers and caretakers, and that's okay. And then some people say we're owners, but we are not owners. All Razorback fans everywhere, all over the world, own a little piece of him. We just see after his day-to-day activities and well-being and take care of him. Tuss Ford has retired. He is now in retirement mode in retirement home, so he just plays in the mud and still gets some grapes, but just not as much belly rubbing as he used to get. We've picked out Tuss 5, and you pick him out for how he interacts with people, how he interacts with fans and things like that. You want him to have a good disposition type. He's going to be very active, a little spastic, a little running around. Got a great personality. Of course, this mud hole is the number one thing he likes to do. And I've had some people say, how does it feel to pull into a stadium with 75,000 people screaming? And I said, the first thing you got to remember is they're not screaming at you. They're screaming what's in that trailer. The thing that I really enjoy is when the fans come up and the little kids come up and their eyes just get big as silver dollars because they just can't wait to see Tuss. But I've had people come back to me and say, I still remember my first Razorback game, but the only thing I can remember is Tuss. I don't remember if we won or lost, but I can remember meeting him. It just gives me a way I feel like I can give back to a state that's given me so much.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite part. My game picks along with the Crew Nation's input. UAB returns the home and home series, heading to in-state rival South Alabama on Thursday night. UAB won last year at Legion Field 35-3. Look for the combination of Spencer Brown and Jermaine Brown to ultimately ground and pound UAB to victory here. Florida opens up their SEC schedule at Ole Miss. This is the 121st season of college football at Ole Miss, but it's the first season under the Lane train, where he has the Rebs wearing their ice blue uniforms. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough, though. At the end of the day, all SEC quarterback Kyle Trask and all SEC wide receiver Trayvon Grimes will be too much for the Lane Train's defense to handle, at least during week 1. Look for Florida to pull away at the end. Kentucky heads into Jordan-Hare, which might be the SEC's most competitive game of the weekend. Kentucky is powered by big boys up front on the offensive line, each well over 300 pounds, and has power running back A.J. Rose leading the way. Auburn will be led by now sophomore but SEC Freshman of the Year Bo Nix, and the wide receiver unit, which I think is going to be top producing, Shadarick Jackson, Eli Stove, Anthony Schwartz, and Seth Williams. It's going to be a who can impose their will more type of battle. And watch out for this guy as well. On the defensive line, Zacchaeus Walker for Auburn, wearing jersey number 3. He might be welcomed into the SEC. This one's going to be close, I think. It's going to be high scoring, but at the end of the day, the 25% capacity in Jordan-Hare might be enough where Auburn wins it by a field goal late. Louisville looks to bounce back after last week's, dare I say, embarrassing defeat at the hands of the U this week as they travel up to Heinz Field to take on the Pitt Panthers, who find themselves in the top 25 themselves. Pitt comes on in at a 2.5-point favored, but believe it or not, this is only the second ever meeting between the two as ACC opponents. Last week, Pittsburgh held Austin Peay to 1 yard rushing for the entire game. I expect, obviously, more offense out of Louisville this year between what's now starting to connect as a great connection, Mikhail Cunningham to Tutu Atwell. With that said, Pittsburgh's defense is still top 10, top 15 in the nation, and Louisville's defense had some major holes last week where I don't know if you can improve that much in 1 week. So we will find out, but I see Pittsburgh winning and by double digits. Iowa State tries to rebound after their loss to Louisiana 2 weeks ago as they travel to Fort Worth to take on the TCU Horned Frogs. This is Gary Patterson's 20th season in TCU, and believe it or not, that makes him the second longest tenured coach in the nation. Look for TCU to have probably the third best quarterback in the Big 12 behind Max Duggan. And on defensively, which is usually TCU's strength, All-American safety Trayvon Mockring looks to lead the way. I think this is TCU's game to win. I don't care if Iowa State's the favorite. I don't care if they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this and the unknown of TCU coming in. I still like TCU winning. In what has quickly become as a very intriguing game and raise the warning flags type of game in Stillwater, West Virginia goes to Oklahoma State. Last year, West Virginia was really weak all around, and Oklahoma State is a dominant run team. But they've proven Spencer Sanders is a key part of that offense at quarterback. He's listed as the starter for this week again. I assume the injury is fine. West Virginia right now is the number 2 scoring offense in the nation, and they have the number 3 leading rusher in the nation, and Letty Brown. I think this is going to be close. I think both teams will actually put on a few points, but I'm going to give Oklahoma State one more chance before I start losing confidence in the Cowboys. We're going to take the Pokes by a field goal. Army West Point travels to Cincinnati in a top 25 matchup. This is arguably Army's toughest opponent, not just to date, but on their schedule. They have a chance to run the gauntlet if they can pull the victory off today. Army leads the nation in rushing yards with 779 yards, led by Christian Anderson, their quarterback, and one of the A-backs that I like, their backup A-back, freshman A-back, Tyrell Robinson. Now, all that's good and such, but they've played 2 of the weaker run defense teams in the country so far as well, in Middle Tennessee State and La Monroe. Cincinnati likes to ground the ball out as well. So it's going to be a question of whose offense can be more productive, and will Cincinnati's defense obviously be better than Middle Tennessee or Louisiana Monroe's, but how much better? Cincinnati also currently has the number 3 scoring offense in the league. I see this one, assuming Army can establish its way early, being higher scoring and close, but Cincinnati ultimately coming out on top. In the SEC primetime game of the weekend, Tennessee travels to South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks. Tennessee ended last season with a 6-game winning streak and possibly could be headlined by their defensive linebacker, Henry To'oTo'o. South Carolina is starting graduate transfer from Colorado State, Colin Hill. No coincidence, Mike Bobo is the new offensive coordinator, former head coach at Colorado State. The Fighting Will Muschamps are 7-1 all-time versus Tennessee, Muschamp himself, that is. But Vegas has Will Muschamp as a 2-1 odds that he would not finish the season as head coach. So I believe Tennessee is simply just going to Rocky Top South Carolina. North Carolina State travels to Blacksburg, where they're coming off of their Week 1 victory over Wake Forest in a shootout. I don't think this game's going to be a shootout. I think Hendon Hooker on the offensive side and Richard Ashby on the defensive side is too much, and Virginia Tech big. Close out the night, one of the few games BYU did not have to reschedule and hunt down and make. Troy comes in to Provo. What BYU did 3 weeks ago was a clear and obvious statement what preparation and big offensive line can do. As well as the Sun Belt has been doing this season so far, I think BYU is just too big and too strong and too talented to have any chance of an upset. If you use my picks to help you out over the weekend, best of luck, but do not hold me liable for that. Ask West Coast Chris for that opinions about how I can help you out or not help you out. Hopefully everybody's going to enjoy a great weekend. Your team does well and represents hard. At the end of the day, hopefully they cover your spread for you. It's going to be a fun weekend. We'll catch you on the wrap-up show sometime on Sunday. Until then, everybody enjoy your game.